Indeed, quite a sorry state of affairs there when it comes to water management. And we want to expand the conversation around issues with flooding and what is the role of insurance companies in all this. And at this hour, allow me to bring in Elijah Wachira, who is the Managing Director, CIC General Insurance Limited. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
What do you make of the floods before we get deeper into the interview?
On one hand, we are happy that we have rains. Then on the other, of course, in some areas we have suffered some damages. And it's good for me to say at this point that the role of insurance is to restore the financial position of the various people that are insured in the event of catastrophes like the floods that we have.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, Mr. Wachira, looking at this scenario, of course, the general feeling among many Kenyans is insurance is either motor vehicle, medical insurance, or life insurance. But looking at the situation we're seeing right now of water and actually the floods destroying property, and of course, we've also seen a recent case in mind is at Serena hotels where a tree fell and cars that were parked there were damaged. Just walk us through what can be done about this when it comes to ensuring people on the ground.
I think one of the greatest responsibilities we have as an industry, the insurance industry, and I think media will be very helpful here, is to educate people on the value of insurance. Because, for example, all the vehicles that were affected by the Serena issue will be covered either by the vehicle insurance itself, because if the person had insurance and there is damage to your asset, then you should be able to claim from your insurer. And number two, those of us who own establishments, including Serena, will many times be required to take public liability insurance, where when your establishment offends a third party, who could include a passerby, a customer, or whoever it is, then you are obligated by law to be able to compensate whoever is affected. In this particular case, these vehicles parked around Serena will most likely claim from the public liability cover of insurance because...
So will they get new cars?
They will not get new cars because insurance does not invest in enriching beyond where they were. The various insureds were where they were, but then they will be compensated to a point where they will get to the same level they were before.
All right.
This is called indemnity.
All right. So talking about indemnity, Wachira, of course, CIC has been on the front line when it comes to trying to roll out products that are sort of affordable and also tailored towards the customers.
Yes.
Perhaps when you talk of, for instance, if my house has been washed down by floods, is there a cover like that in the first place? Secondly, if there is, what indemnity will I get?
Okay. Now, we have two types of household insurance. When you're taking insurance for your house, you will either be a tenant in that house. In that case, you cover only the household goods, or you will be a landlord, where you will cover the structure only. But we have another situation where the landlord lives in his own house. You are owner-occupier. And in that case, you will cover both the structure and the contents. We have insurance solutions for that. And when many times you take a fire insurance for your house, it will cover you against fire, against floods, against lightning, and all those other things. So such covers exist. Many banks, when you're taking a loan, will insist that you take that kind of cover. And many of us are encouraged to continue paying even after you finish repaying your mortgage. A number of people now are happy to pay for the insurance of their assets, even when they're not mortgaged, because they have experienced huge benefits.
And Wachira, of course, it's one thing to talk about the availability of the product, but how is the uptake? Because we're seeing many people, for instance, we did see the Athi Mawe Bridge, which affected the houses around that area, that is the Green Park estate. And I mean, many people were still claiming that they don't have insurance because, first of all, it's expensive. Secondly, they take forever before you're compensated.
I think that's a perception, again, we need to address. From the Athi River estate, I have so far seen 3 claims from when they happened. And ordinarily what happens in the event of such claims, we shall send people on the ground called, or professionals called adjusters, who will come in and verify which items were lost, what is the approximate cost. After we get that information information collecting phase takes 2 to 3 weeks, we are able to pay within a week after the reports are out. So they do not take forever. The other thing I think we need to demystify, if your contents in your house are worth about 1 million shillings, we are talking contents first, then you'll be surprised.
This include electronics,
that's electronics and
furniture.
everything. Furniture, electronics, carpets, and everything. Then you'll be surprised that the premium you're supposed to pay per year is in the neighborhood of 5,000 shillings. If you have a house worth 20 million, then you'll be surprised that the premium you require to pay per year is something in the neighborhood of 10,000 shillings. So when you look at how much you stand to be compensated versus how much you pay per year, then you discover that the expense is so little, comparing it with the benefits. Last year, when we had floods like now, I remember compensating the parquet floor to a level of 11 million, and that person had only paid me 7,000 shillings. Then a whole floor was damaged. We had to actually repair or replace the whole parquet floor with a fresh floor.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
So what is the time frame that someone should get their claim cleared by an insurance company?
When an event happens, like the floods we are having at the moment, it is advisable that the following day, at most, you report to the police, report to your insurer, either directly or through your intermediary. After that happens, many insurers will want to send an adjuster immediately so that they get the information when it is still live, when it's still hot. Within 3 weeks at most, an insured should be able to get their payment.
All right.
Yes.
Do you think insurance companies have been responsive enough or they've been reactive?
Ideally, insurance companies are responsive, but there is an education gap that sits somewhere between the people with potential to insure and them taking up insurance. And that's where, maybe in collaboration with the media, the industry must come together and continue to educate people more so that they take insurance, rather than in the event of an accident, we are going and discovering out of 20 losses, you're only covering 1 or 2.
All right.
Yes.
I have a question here from one of the viewers, is Kosgei, watching us from Eldoret. He's saying, ask Mr. Wachira about the causes of the risks and the assurance of the cover. In the event, I guess his question is more about assurance of being compensated in an event where you've been a victim of a natural calamity.
A lot of policies you will see will very clearly outline the various events that are covered in case they happen. For example, if you look, and I'll talk for CIC because that's where I work.
Yes.
If you look at a CIC document, it clearly stipulates that in the event of floods, in the event of lightning, in the event of losses arising from various other acts of God, they are unplanned and unprecedented, so they are covered to the limit. I think it's also good to say that many of the CIC covers will also have political and political violence and terrorism extensions, and therefore even those that are ordinarily not covered by very many other insurers, we are able to give you this so that we do not have a discussion towards the end or towards the time of a claim whether the event is covered or not. But I advise viewers to always insist to whoever is selling to them insurance, I want one that covers even some acts of God, including some earthquakes, some lightnings, and those kind of things, because they are there.
All right. And looking at the way the market has been operating, we're looking at a penetration of about 4% in the Kenyan market. If you compare this with, say, a country like South Africa, they're in the region of 16%, heading 20%. Perhaps what role can technology play in terms of getting more people to take up insurance, coming up with innovative solutions that someone can pay in installments rather than a lump sum amount?
I have seen our industry and even our consumers heavily take up technology as they consider various insurances. For example, now, if you went to CIC, you do not have to walk to the office to buy yourself a marine insurance, a personal accident cover, or even travel insurance. All you have to do is to get into a portal, very friendly, you put in your details, and pop, you're covered. Again, from a payment perspective, we now have mobile money.
Yes.
We have direct debits from banks. We have credit cards.
Yes.
It is now very easy to make payment. Our challenge in penetration is not so much from a payment perspective. I still believe it is heavily from a consumer awareness perspective and the appetite for this. I am aware there is insurance, but is it priority in my budget? That is something that I think as an industry and as a country, because we understand the value of this, we've got to continue working on.
All right. And one of the big questions that many people are asking as well is, people pay their premiums so diligently, and assuming nothing happens, help us understand, because the feeling among consumers is insurance take your money. When you are in trouble, they delay to pay you. Of course, you've said it's a perception issue. Things are changing. But if I've been paying for my motor insurance year in, year out, I don't have any accidents, what is expected in terms of some people feel they need to be reimbursed? Explain to us how this concept works.
The insurance concept is a concept of pooling risks. Let's take the floods that are happening now. Not all households are affected by floods, but a few are. I said the insurance of a structure, a modern home in Nairobi, will be somewhere in the neighborhood of 10, 20,000 shillings per year. That is not enough to compensate the loss of furniture, loss of fittings and all in the event of a flood in one household. So very many 10,000s, very many premiums are pushed together to be able to finance that one or two losses that will happen. That being the case, when you do not experience a loss, then you should be happy that you have participated in the financing of another person's loss. So that pooling concept works so that now you're not refunded, but you participate in financing another loss. Now, from a benefit perspective, many insurers and CIC leads in this will give a client who doesn't claim year on, year out, something we call no claim discount, where you find premiums in subsequent years being discounted because of the past claims behavior of the client.
Your track record.
Yes.
All right. And as we come to an end to this particular interview, what is in the outlook for the insurance sector? Are we seeing 2018 being a better year, or is it just things haven't picked up as we anticipated?
No, we've begun the year fairly well. The outlook is bright. We are convinced with the stability in the political environment and with the rains, even as there are floods and claims, we expect better production in agriculture, then we are looking for a great year. I must say we have heavily invested in technology. We have heavily invested in more footprint across the country, where we have more people going out there to educate people on the need for insurance. And sometimes claims like these ones, and we settling the claims in time, is the best way of ensuring that we sell. And everybody now believes that insurance gives you value.
All right. And which areas are you seeing growth coming out of in this next, say, 5-year plan?
In the next, with looking at the big four the government is focusing on, I see a lot of interest in the construction insurance. CIC is the leader in this one in the country. And then in manufacturing, I see a lot of engineering and a lot of personal accident and work injury benefits insurance. And then generally, I see fire, because all the construction and housing, there'll be a lot of fire insurance that will be an area of focus.
All right. Quite an interesting outlook from your crystal ball. Many thanks, Elijah.
Thank you, Abby.
I appreciate you coming.
Most welcome.
And let's keep and look at how the markets continue to perform. And of course, it's important for you to have insurance. And of course, there are so many available options in the market right now. Well, before we go for the break, let me just remind us of our Twitter poll question. And today we're asking you, do you think insurance companies offer relevant products to cater for your needs? Well, we have some interesting numbers. 10% are saying yes, they do have. 75% are saying no. 15% are not sure. Wachira, those are the numbers. Kenyans have spoken. What do you think, in brief?
That's interesting. I would believe that it's a journey. We've come from some place. We have, is it 19 or 17? We have a percentage that
15.
is convinced that we're doing well. And what we have to do is to continue to engage with them to see how can we tailor products that address the needs fully.
To avoid the disconnect.
That's the thing.
All right. Thanks once again for coming.
Most welcome.
And we definitely will continue talking over this issue up until Kenya is able to grow the penetration to the region of about 20%. Well, time for a quick commercial break. On the other side of the break, we have the next frontier. We'll be taking you to Makueni County, where farmers are able to make better returns from a factory that has been launched by the county government. All that after the break.